Welcome to the City of Little Rock's new employee orientation for our part-time employees. We understand it is often difficult in order to be able to attend a traditional Monday morning orientation. Therefore, we have decided to ensure that in order for all of our employees to be welcome to the city, that we have this orientation in electronic format that will be accessible and convenient. One of the things that we would like all of our new employees to know is our acronym called the ROC. The stands for Trust, Helpfulness, and Equality. As we continue explaining what the ROC means, again, these are aspects that we would like all of our City of Little Rock employees to demonstrate. So the ROC stands for Respect, Opportunity, Communication, and Knowledge. Again, these are all facets that we are hoping our employees will demonstrate to our citizens. The orientation will cover several things today. We will go over employee information and perks, parking, workplace safety, benefits, paycheck, city's policies and procedures, and holidays, leave, and vacation. Please note that since you are a temporary or a seasonal part-time employee, a lot of the benefits will not cover you. However, if you have any questions, please feel free to email hremployment@littlerock.gov. A lot of our information is also online. If you will go to littlerock.gov to the Human Resources page under Helpful Documents, you will see a lot of PDFs that have been uploaded for all of our employees to access. Since you are reviewing this virtual orientation file, there are several things that you will need to obtain in the next week or two of your employment. You will need to come to Human Resources to obtain your City of Little Rock ID badge if you do not already have one. Please note, if your employment is with the City of Little Rock Zoo, the City of Little Rock Police Department, or the City of Little Rock Fire Department, these departments have their own badge machines. However, if you work for any other department, you will need to come to Human Resources. You will also need to obtain a parking pass if you work in the City Hall area. Our parking lot, which is located at the end of Arch Street, does require a parking pass. However, if you work for another area or department or satellite location with the city, you may not need one. Please check with your supervisor. Your supervisor will ensure that you have the correct parking pass that is required. You will also need a new employee packet or handbook. If you have not received one, please come to Human Resources and we will give you a hard copy of the handbook in order to provide you with all the necessary policies and procedures that will be at your fingertips. Please note that, again, a lot of our information can be obtained online or your supervisor. If your supervisor is unsure, please feel free to email hremployment@littlerock.gov. Please be aware that as an employee, you are prohibited engaging in any business, trade, or profession that would interfere with the satisfactory performance of your job duties, reflect badly of the city, or discredit the employee or represent a conflict of interest. It is your responsibility to ensure that you uphold all the values that we require of our city employees. Also, we do not employ level 3 or level 4 sex offenders. However, if you are level 1 or level 2 in certain departments, you must adhere to all of the requirements that is mandated by the sex offender registry requirement. Please note that if a particular position required a particular license, typically which is a driver's license, if you lose this license or lose a particular certification, then you will face disciplinary action, which could involve either termination or demotion to another position. It is the responsibility of all of our employees to ensure that they maintain any required licenses or certifications. If there are any issues, please go to your supervisor directly. If your department requires you to wear a particular uniform or a shirt, the City of Little Rock will provide such to you. The City of Little Rock will also provide an employee ID badge, which is required for some of our employee functions, and free parking. There are several things that we would wish you to know about your compensation. We no longer have paper checks, therefore you will need to go to My ADP in order to access your check advice stub. This is where you will see how many hours you are paid for. Please note that we have bi-weekly pay periods, which is every other Friday. If you are unsure of your pay period, please get with your supervisor. It is also part-time employees' responsibility to ensure that their hours are reported either to the supervisor or a timekeeper, however your department or division prefers. The department director has to authorize salary increases for part-time, and you are eligible for any overtime, meaning that if you work over 40 hours, whether you're part-time or non-exempt full-time, you will be owed overtime. Also note that the city has a relationship with Orion Credit Union. If you would like any additional information, please email hremployment@littlerock.gov and we will give you information about joining our credit union. The city offers many volunteer opportunities. You can volunteer at the City of Little Rock Zoo Department or the City of Little Rock Parks and Recreation Department. These volunteer opportunities often give individuals an opportunity to see if they would like to be employed by these departments either full-time or part-time. The next portion of our new employee orientation will be discussing labor and employee relations. Labor and Employee Relations is the division in the Human Resources Department that oversees employee grievances as well as employee discipline. If you would like to file an employee grievance or you feel uncomfortable in your work environment, please access our Labor and Employee Relations Division in the Human Resources Department. You may email them at hrlaborrelations@littlerock.gov. Please note labor relations is spelled out. The other areas of labor relations is going to be, besides disciplinary actions and grievances, it's going to be terminations, harassment, sexual harassment, ADA accommodations, workplace violence, concealed weapons, drug-free workplace, the smoking policies, email and internet usage, and the Arkansas Freedom of Information Act, which is called FOIA, as well as our driver's license monitoring policies. Please be aware that our temporary or seasonal employees are not eligible for our disciplinary appeal process. However, we do use progressive discipline for all of our employees. The city uses the following types of discipline: oral reprimand, written reprimand, suspension, demotion, or termination. Please also be aware that we have a grievance process. Again, both disciplinary actions and grievances are part of our Labor and Employee Relations Division of the Human Resources Department. Please be aware there are several instances where termination can occur without progressive discipline. Here are some examples: insubordination, breach of confidence or security, falsification of work or city records or documents, theft, 2 consecutive absences without notification to a supervisor or advance call-in, gross negligence, solicitation of personal gifts or fees in the course of work, use of alcohol on city premises or equipment, or being on duty while under the influence of alcohol, initiation of physical violence while on duty or on city property, operation of equipment in unsafe manner where the possibility exists for a serious injury to oneself, another employee, or the public, possession, transfer, sale, or use of illegal drugs, controlled substances on city premises or equipment, or being on duty while under the influence of illegal drugs, possession, transfer, sale, or use of a deadly weapon while on duty or on city property, unsatisfactory work performance, conduct, whether on or off the job, that adversely affects the employee's ability to continue to perform his or her current job. We ask employees to complete a termination clearance form. This ensures that we receive all of our property, including keys or uniforms, back. Each employee must complete this form and they will receive it from their supervisor. You must complete or initiate the process prior to receiving your final paycheck. Again, you will get the form from your department. You must attach a resignation letter or a disciplinary action. The form is sent to Human Resources. The employee must return any city-owned items such as a car tag, phone, laptop, keys, or badges. If an employee is unable to complete the process or is unwilling, then the department will inform the benefits office at 371-4518. Harassment in the workplace. The city is committed to providing a work environment that is free of discrimination and harassment. Harassment of employees and non-employees is strictly prohibited. All employees are encouraged to act responsibly and to recognize that false accusations of harassment can have serious effects on innocent individuals. Any employee found guilty of harassment shall be subject to disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment. Workplace violence. The City of Little Rock is committed to providing a safe and healthy workplace for the benefits of its employees and the public. The City of Little Rock is also committed to preventing violence against persons receiving city services and participating in city programs. The City of Little Rock has zero tolerance of workplace violence. Employees shall report instances of or threats of violence to their supervisors. Supervisors shall record, investigate, and report instances of threats of violence to law enforcement as appropriate and to the Human Resources Risk Manager. Please be aware that you may also report any instances to the Human Resources Department. All threats will be taken seriously and must be reported immediately. Concealed weapons on city property. The City of Little Rock does not permit any person to carry a concealed weapon or firearm on city property at any time. There are no exceptions. Active and retired law enforcement police officers and law enforcement personnel required to carry a firearm as a condition of employment are not subject to this prohibition, but all other persons entering city premises are. All people entering a city building or city property are subject to search. Please be aware this does include any weapons found in a vehicle parked on city property. If any weapons are found, the person will not be allowed to enter the property and must leave the area immediate. Again, please note, even if you have a concealed carry license, this does not allow you to have a firearm on city property. ADA accommodations. A reasonable accommodation is any change to the application or hiring process, to the job, or the way the job is done, or the work environment that allows a person with a disability who is qualified for the job to perform the essential functions of that job and enjoy equal employment opportunities. Accommodations are considered reasonable if they do not create an undue hardship or a direct threat. An individual with a disability is an individual that meets the Americans with Disabilities Act definition of disability, which is a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more leisure life activities. And essential functions are job duties that are fundamental to the position. They are the reason that the job exists. Again, if you have any questions concerning an ADA accommodation, you may email HR laborrelations@littlerock.gov. Reasonable accommodations come in many forms. In order to determine what is reasonable, an employer must look at the request made by the applicant or employee with a disability. Whether or not an accommodation is reasonable will vary according to the position employee holds, the way their disability affects their ability to do their job, and the environment that they work in. Here are some following examples of generally considered reasonable accommodation. Changing the job tasks, providing reserved parking, which will be closer to the building the employee works in, improving accessibility in a work area, changing the presentation of test and/or training materials, providing or adjusting a product, equipment, or software, allowing a flexible work schedule, providing an aid or service to increase access, or reassigning to a vacant or other position. Concerning religious accommodations, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits employment discrimination based on religion. This includes refusing to accommodate an employee's sincerely held religious beliefs or practices unless the accommodation would impose an undue hardship. Here are some common religious accommodations that are sought in the workplace. An employee needs an exception to the company's dress and grooming code for religious practice. A Muslim employee needs a break schedule that will permit daily prayers at prescribed times, or an employee needs accommodation of a religious belief that working on the Sabbath is prohibited. Please note that religious freedoms will not overcome any safety considerations concerning that particular position the employee is in. Concerning Pregnancy Discrimination Act and nursing mothers. Employers must treat pregnancy-related disabilities as they would any other temporary disability. The PDA prohibits discrimination in hiring, promotion, suspension, or any terms related to employee on the basis of pregnancy, recovering from childbirth, related medical conditions of miscarriage, preeclampsia, or abortion. The city will provide reasonable unpaid break time to an employee who needs to express breast milk. The city shall make a reasonable effort to provide a private, secure, and sanitary room or other location in close proximity to the work area other than a bathroom stall. This does not require the city to provide break times that does not run concurrently with any paid or unpaid break time already provided. Concerning our driver's license monitoring policies, all employees that are required to operate city vehicles or motorized equipment must possess and maintain an Arkansas driver's license and/or endorsement in compliance with their job description. Employees are responsible for monitoring and maintaining driver's licenses and obtaining the license or endorsement required for their job. Employees who are arrested for DUI and receive an interlock restricted driver's license will not be permitted to operate city vehicles or equipment. Failure to maintain a valid Arkansas driver's license or to immediately report the change in status of their license may result in disciplinary action up to and including termination. The Arkansas Freedom of Information Act. The City of Little Rock is a government entity. Therefore, the law gives Arkansas residents access to public records and public meetings, which includes many documents from the City of Little Rock. These records will include the employee's name, salary information, employment applications, documents submitted with the application such as resumes, job titles, employment history, emails, and city phone records. Please note the Human Resources does redact information that is not releasable concerning employee personnel files. The Employee Assistance Program. It is the city's intent to provide assistance to any employee who experiences personal problems which affect health, morale, family, or work performance. The EAP provides confidential counseling and referral service. Please note there is no charge for initial consultation. No employee shall have their job security or promotional opportunities jeopardized because of a request or referral. Please be aware that grief counseling is available to city employees 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Employees receive 5 free counseling sessions per life event to include but not limited to death of a loved one, divorce, major medical illness for yourself or a loved one, or the death of a pet. Please note that the Employee Assistance Program is also available to all of our part-time and temporary employees and their families. There are a few other areas of consideration for this orientation session. The City of Little Rock is a drug and alcohol-free workplace. All employees are subject to reasonable suspicion, which means that if 2 or more supervisors have observed an impaired employee, we remain the right to escort that employee to a clinical lab where drug and alcohol testing will occur. Drug and alcohol testing will also occur if an employee is driving a city vehicle. All employees shall remain drug and alcohol free while acting within the scope of their employment. The unlawful manufacture, distribution, possession, or use of a controlled substance or alcohol on city property is prohibited. For smoking policies, in compliance with the Arkansas Clean Indoor Air Act, smoking is prohibited in all city-operated and occupied facilities and while operating inside any city-owned equipment and vehicles. Smoking will be allowed in designated areas outside of city facilities or vehicles. Please get with your supervisor where the area is of your place of employment. On-the-job injuries. The City of Little Rock provides workers' compensation coverage for all employees. Accident report forms are available in all departments. In a case of a workplace injury, please notify your supervisor immediately. Call Medical or 1-800-775-5866. Complete required forms to initiate a workers' compensation claim. Please contact our Safety Loss Control Specialist in the Human Resources Department at 371-4756. Please remember, if you think it is a serious or life-threatening injury, call 911. Please note that our Human Resources forms are available on our website. If you go to the Human Resources webpage, you will access our divisions and you will see helpful documents. If you click on the division such as benefits, you will see some of our benefit providers. Our helpful documents include many of the forms that we have discussed in today's orientation. Please be aware that in the city's employment page, you can apply for different positions such as a firefighter or police officer. If you are interested in becoming a full-time employee in a certain department, we do list employment opportunities in each department's web page. Please click on the Apply Here widget that will be embedded in each department's web page. Please be aware, if you are viewing this onboarding orientation and before you have come to Human Resources Department, you will get a Human Resources Authorization to Work form from Human Resources after you have provided us all the documents necessary for your sign-up. You will not be able to work for that department until you obtain this card. This card tells your supervisor in the department you are clearly authorized and able to work. You must come to HR to get an employee ID badge unless you have working for either the zoo, the police, or fire departments. Please contact a hiring manager or department if you need any other instructions or have questions concerning your employment. Again, a part-time employee must come to HR in order to be authorized to begin work, provide us the required documents such as a photo ID, a social security card, and or passport, and any other additional instructions you should have received from your hiring supervisor.